Hi, everyone. Um, Another one of my COVID quarantine updates on some psychological issues. One of the things those of you who follow me on social media have noticed is I'm concerned about levels of drug use and abuse in this quarantine time. And I've had some time to think about it. And don't get me wrong, we're all doing it. We're all having, not all of us. I mean, plenty of people are staying in recovery. And for those people, I really hope you continue and you monitor your social media use, because so many people on social media are engaging a lot of alcohol use. I myself had a shot on social media earlier, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the science and some of the issues involved in social isolation. And it's one of the reasons why so many of us psychologists have pushed back on the idea of social isolation and tried to focus more on physical isolation. And the reason for that is that social isolation is a huge risk factor for a variety of issues, in particular stress. Our social support helps mitigate the effects of stress and its concomitant influences on the causes of depression. But I want to specifically talk about addiction issues. In the 1970s, a great deal of research was conducted with rats and cocaine. And in fact, rats and cocaine are an ongoing model for addiction. Rat brains are a lot like ours, in particular the nucleus accumbens, which is the part of the brain responsible for addiction. Anyway, so the original earliest research showed that rats just really loved cocaine, and they would actually quite frequently overdose on cocaine water over regular water. But these were rats that were in isolation, and a psychologist took a look, and I can't remember his name, I had it up on my screen a minute ago, at how this issue might influence us. Sorry, I'm bringing this up. Dr. Bruce Alexander was his name. And he invented this thing called the rat park. Because rats are social creatures. Most rats live in colonies. They don't live by themselves. And this is one of the other reasons why they make such great models for addiction. And so he discovered that if rats lived in parks where they could have social structure and sex and all sorts of other rewards, that none of the rats OD'd on cocaine. And in fact, they would only go on occasion to that drug, to the drug water that included cocaine. And in a modern analog, those of us in the drug abuse area refer to these people as weekend warriors. It's people that, go and party on the weekends and they go back to work on Monday and they're just fine. Now, there are a number of genetic issues that go along with these. So it's not just anyone, even if they have a good social support structure. So it's not just social support structure. So I don't want to give you that idea. What I want to say is that we don't know how long this particular crisis is going to go on for. It looks like it's going to go on for longer, probably a lot longer than we thought. I think we'll emerge from complete social isolation and at least be able to see other people and have sex eventually. Let's hope. So while I'm concerned about the development of some substance use problems in individuals, I just want you all to be mindful of it and also realize this will end and we'll get back to the point where we have social attachments. And that's one of the hopeful parts about this rat research, is that the even rats that were highly addicted to cocaine in social isolation, once they returned to a rat colony, had social structure, had other reinforcers, didn't find cocaine as reinforcing. And the only reason I'm using this as an example is because that's where the research is. That's how reward research is done. It's all done with cocaine. For those of you who enjoy baking, I do also want to note that rats actually prefer sugary water over cocaine by several orders of magnitude. So it's entirely possible that sugar is more addictive. So you're going to want to watch your baking and your amount of sugar intake as well. And so I want everyone to come out of this healthy and happy. And as I've been signing off a lot of emails to stay safe and stay sane. I've been telling my students come out of this alive and somewhat sane, I think is what we want to do. So I want everyone to make it through this. So just monitor, keep an eye on yourself. A lot of us are by ourselves. And so you kind of have to be responsible for yourself. Perfectly fine to have a couple too many once a week. Or so, but if you're doing that every day, think about it for a little bit. If you're, hammering through pans of brownies, it's probably time to think about that as well. All of these things invoke the reward pathway in the brain. And right now, our brains are hardwired for rewards because we're not getting any anywhere else. And so stay in touch with your friends and family. Do those Zoom chats, those Zoom happy hours that have become so popular. Invite friends. Don't assume that somebody else is inviting them. Some of us are here by ourselves and we're doing our best. But make sure you're checking in with your friends and your family and take care of one another because we got to get through this. And I think we all are going to. So my hopeful point on this slightly rambling discussion about addiction is the social isolation is a huge risk factor for people with addiction. Check in with those friends that you know that are vulnerable. And if you're worried about each other, it's a good thing to worry about. Keep checking in and know that once we're out of this, things will get a lot better. We just want to make sure we haven't completely rewired all of our brains so that all we care about are brownies, liquor, and cocaine. So let's be mindful, take care of one another, and that's my message, is be kind and take care of one another. So thanks.